Welcome to This Week in Guns, a podcast that covers the latest commentary on the firearms industry, news, information, and buzz. Brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. I'm your host, Jake Challen, president of FRN. You make this show possible. That's right. You simply click through our Amazon affiliate link the next time you're shopping online, and a small portion of your sale goes to supporting pro-gun shows like This Week in Guns. Well, hot off the NRA show, we have a great panel this week. We have Ebbs of House of Guns and House of Arms. Hey, Ebbs.
Hey, Jake.
And we have Whitey of Four Guys Guns.
How's it going, Jake? Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
And we have John Patton of the Gun Collective.
I'm Snapchatting. What's up, bro?
And Adam Kraut, Esquire, Firearms Industry Consulting Group, a division of Prince Law Offices, PC. Hey, Adam.
Yo, yo, yo.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are not those of the individual co-hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. Viewer discretion is advised, especially on live shows. Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. Check out the new patches. We have some brand new pre-orders up over at Patriot Patch Company. We have a Tactical Tux patch pre-order and a 3-pack of brand new, 3 new Dangerous to Go Lone patches. So check those out. Cool stuff. And also a Revolutionary War themed patch and Appeal to Heaven flag that was flown on George Washington's cruisers during the Revolutionary War. PatriotPatch.co. New Patreon perks. You can hang out with us after the show. Go to patreon.com/week. Pledge at the $10 level. Tonight, we have lucky listeners that are hanging out with us because they support us at $10 on Patreon, patreon.com/week. And hang out with the FRN crew in Louisville. Oh, yeah, that already happened. So I put this in here to thank all of you guys for hanging out. And thanks to John and Whitey for coming out too.
No, thank you. No, seriously, it was a lot of fun to meet everybody.
Get it together, Jake. Jesus. It was a good time. I was more recognized there than I was anywhere else. I felt very important.
You are very important.
My favorite was the Instagram of you shopping for yoga pants, like where somebody.
Oh, so creepy.
Talk to me.
Oh my God! It's Whitey from FGG. I'm afraid to go talk to him, so I'll take this picture. This really kind of rapey.
It's a picture of me taking a picture of a butt of the 5'11" yoga pants mannequin to send to Mrs. Whitey.
Oh, it was so good.
And more shenanigans like this after the show. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/week. Top stories this week. Start with positive news, as always. Texas breaks the 1 million mark on concealed carry licenses.
Yay!
Wait. Just now?
Yeah, that's right.
It's shocking.
Well,
Wait, should there be an extra 0 in there, or
mean,
maybe it's 10 million?
Don't try to make this positive news negative.
They've had it for 20 years, and they're just now crossing 1 million. I think it's because it's Texas. People just hell with it. I'm carrying my gun.
Yeah, people in Texas are going, oh wait, you had to have a permit for that?
Well, the funny thing is, last time I was down in Texas, a lot of people don't realize, because it's Texas, that they're actually like pretty difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
It's as bad as Massachusetts, I was told by a couple of the cops that were up there, and that's saying a lot for Texas.
I've heard many of the southern states, people do have that attitude where, you know, they don't seek out permits, they just carry.
Well, and we want to make sure to be clear that was Whitey that made the correlation between Texas and Massachusetts for anyone listening.
Send your hate mail there.
Yeah.
Come at me, bro.
Right. We're gonna have the what's that commercial with what was it? Some kind of was it Tabasco sauce or
New York City?
Old El Paso.
Old El Paso.
Yeah.
Just so we could date all of ourselves.
That was a great commercial. So, if you're too young to remember, I'm freaking out about Tulsa coming from New York City, then go to YouTube. I guarantee it's on there.
Right,
In
like
fact,
there's something wrong with eating before sundown and saving money. Okay.
I'm going to find it and put it in the show notes.
Hey, we'll get to Florida later. We have a Florida woman's story. So, also positive news: the Gun Collective Ultimate Gun Guy Q&A meetup greet was a success. Congrats, John.
Hey, thanks. It was a good time. I think people really, really enjoyed it. I've already had multiple people that were on the panel talking about either doing it next year, doing it at SHOT, trying to get more companies involved, putting themselves on the line and their connections on the line to make it bigger, better, and cooler. And it was just a really unique experience for everybody. And I wasn't sure how it would go, and I think it turned out really well. Whitey was on the panel. Jake, you were there, making things happen for me behind the scenes. It was a really good time, and I appreciate everybody that made it out.
Yeah, it was awesome to see all the people come out and all the people that braved the parking to get there, because it was just insanely difficult to get there.
If that was on scene, that would have been completely different, I think. I think we would have had like the doors overflowing.
Right. Absolutely.
But you know what? At the same time, I'm not sure we would have been able to handle that. like if it was that packed, it would have been crazy, and I would have loved it. But
you would have had a hard time keeping people from the mic.
Right.
Well, it was already like that. I mean, we went way over time, right?
Oh yeah. So my original intention was to do about 2 hours of actual Q&A, and we went 3 hours, and people hung around afterwards. Even then, it was really, really cool to see that.
I didn't actually think it was like that bad though. Like, so I thought,
it didn't feel long.
Getting no offense to anybody who was there, I appreciate everyone who interacted, but like getting cornered by one person, I felt like by having us all up there for longer, more people could field a similar question, and people had no problem saying, "Hey, this question is geared towards this person." So,
which is perfect, and it's funny because I didn't ask people to do it like that; it just worked.
Right.
Like it just happened that way, and I was like, "Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I thought would happen in my head." And I don't know, it was really cool. We gave away a lot of awesome stuff. I gave away night vision to a kid with pink hair. That kid was shocked.
You gave away night vision to a kid with pink hair?
Oh, yeah.
That's
because
solid.
he made me laugh.
That's solid.
I'm not going to say the joke because Jake might blush. But it'll be out on video on the Gun Collective, on YouTube, Facebook, Full 30, as soon as I have all the footage, which should be sometime next week.
Yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm opening up the camera right now. I need it tomorrow.
Before we get out of the positive news section, I forgot an announcement. We have at firearmsradio.tv/resources, we have some flyers that you can print out and put up at your local gun store to tell people about FRN.
That's a rad idea.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Well,
So, yeah,
what was that? Firearms Radio?
So it's firearmsradio.tv/resources. It's also in the top menu there. But it's a PDF file that you can click into. You can print these off in color or black and white, either one. It's just a full-size sheet of paper that you can tack up at your gun store, gun range, local Chipotle, wherever.
So I want to give a quick shout out to Ryan at Sensibly Armed. If you're listening, buddy, I want you to print some of those out for me, because that's the place I get my guns transferred. Sensibly Armed, they always treat me well. It's in Reading, PA, and I know he listens quite a bit to the show.
Sweet. Awesome. So there was breaking news at the NRA show this week. NRA officially endorses Donald Trump for president.
Did they have another choice?
Did they have to endorse anyone?
Well, that was my question.
They don't have to, but
I mean, it's a political statement. That's really all it is. It's, hey, we have to support this quote-unquote Republican, whatever he actually is. I don't know. Weirdo, bald guy.
You went straight for the R word. Impressive.
Related story, gunmaker offers free rifles for guard towers on Trump border wall.
Dude, that's POF USA though. That's
What's really, really funny is I spent a lot of time talking to Frank, the owner of POF, and he sent me this in an email. He's like, listen, we need to make sure that people remember the history of the United States. This man is emphatically a patriot, so something like this doesn't shock me at all.
I laugh at all the people that are like, you can't possibly build a wall big enough to do that, and then you say, how long was the Great Wall of China?
Right. Have you seen
5,000 some miles? How far is it across the United States, especially at that border? No problem. If the Chinese could do it back then, we could certainly build a wall now if we really wanted to.
Well, they didn't have unions back then.
That's okay. We don't.
Yeah, they just had communism and slaves.
Worker disagreement, just throw you under the wall and bury you there.
Yeah, they had Mongols.
I like where your
There's
head's
a
at.
unified fear. Stack 'em high. All right.
I can't. I was waiting for somebody to make a correlate Mexicans to Mongols.
Well,
but
they had
I'm waiting
those.
for it.
Didn't they have those big elephants too from Lord of the Rings, Return of the King?
Yeah, there's a couple huge falcons and things
They had
too.
those to help
like,
them build it. Too.
Magic missiles. They had like 6 Gandalfs, like per platoon.
Yep.
What are you talking about right now?
We're not just talking about the backs of slaves here.
Dude, why you gotta make it about race?
It was like, if you guys remember back to the original World of Warcraft, it was a lot like that.
Well, that's also based on fact. So,
You ever like unclick the mute button and then click it back on? Like, I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm glad we got from Donald Trump endorsement to
World of Warcraft.
That's about how foolish all of this is.
Yeah, it's a sensical segue given all the other stuff.
Hashtag LARPing.
I love us.
So real quick, would you vote for Donald Trump, John?
Me? No.
Josh?
There's that unmute again. Honestly, yeah. Because what's your other option?
Somebody else. Ebbs?
Oh, are we going around the room?
Yeah, we're doing this. I'm gonna force it.
Yeah, heavy sigh.
I am, and I'll probably be crucified for saying this, but I am legitimately considering not voting this year.
Why is that? Are we going to get into this? Do we have time, Jake?
No, we don't. We don't.
Adam?
I don't talk about who I vote for publicly.
Okay, Mom.
Oh, come on.
Oh, Esquire strikes again.
All I want to say is, for all the people that are foaming at the mouth for Donald Trump and crucifying others, let me put it like this. And this isn't to say that I had any intention of voting for John Kasich, but the letter that was circulating around from all those from '94 when he got that thank you note from Clinton for voting for the assault weapons ban, all these gun groups and you know all over Facebook, everybody was like, "Oh, John Kasich's anti-gun," blah 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 blah. Yeah, he did vote for it. He also had 20 years to reform his opinion, whereas Donald Trump has changed his in the last 3, and everybody's screaming that he's some gun rights advocate. You've got to be kidding me. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
So somebody in the comments on YouTube said that, little known fact, it's our buddy Shelley, little known fact, Mexico has a wall on its southern border to prevent illegal immigration.
And they'll pay for it.
Okay, Jake, your turn.
Oh boy.
What do you think I forgot?
I was gonna go all the way around to me.
Just pull the Esquire route.
Please say Hillary.
Yeah, definitely not voting for the other side. Praying that we get like a superstar third-party candidate at the last minute, maybe
in the next 5 months.
Right.
How? Oh gosh.
Like Rand Paul just gets all the money.
Every election, we're like, how did we get here?
Hillary should be in jail.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have a bumper sticker on my car attesting to that fact.
I saw Hillary for prison lowers, by the way.
Oh, so you don't publicly talk about who you're going to vote for, but you put that bumper sticker on your car.
Oh, that bitch should be in. Oh, timestamp. She should be in jail. And it's okay. If she gets elected, I'll end up in the prison of political dissent. I'll be the first person.
Are we timestamping the B word?
Well, I have no idea what's acceptable anymore.
It's safe to say.
Pipe down, Adam.
Sorry.
Jake, official ruling?
We'll have to put this up for committee vote after the show.
The call stands.
Flag on the field, video review. We'll get back to you.
Don't bitch out, Jake.
That's 2.
Ninth Circuit Court rule, Second Amendment includes right to acquire firearms.
All right.
You can own it and buy it.
I feel like a lot of these headlines, we could just read them and be like, okay, moving on.
Well, it's interesting if you look at where the Ninth Circuit is.
I see that.
Its nickname is the Ninth Circus, so that ought to give you...
What does that mean again? Not circus, but like, how many circuits are there?
How many circuits are there? 9 or 10?
I feel like that's something they pulled out of a video game.
Like when you level up, you go to the 3rd circuit court?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
This, we're going to the 4th circuit.
I beat the 8th circuit with my race car.
How many chances do you get?
That was the court that Uncle Phil sat on from Fresh Prince. He was a judge in the Ninth Circuit.
How do you know that?
It's not real. I made it up.
But
it was solid, wasn't it?
I was believable, man. You could have went with that.
So
there's 13 circuits.
Okay, a 3-judge panel for the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has issued a 2-to-1 ruling that the right to purchase and sell a firearm is part and parcel of the historically recognized right to keep and bear arms, protected by the Second Amendment.
So this all started because the Alameda County ordinance that passed prohibits gun stores from being located within 500 feet of residential zones. Anyone who's ever dealt with zoning knows that basically means that somewhere in the middle of the desert we might be able to get some commercial zoning, and somewhere out there might be some place we could run power and all this other stuff, and then we could actually build a gun store.
What's interesting is, based on it being an ordinance that's kind of zoning oriented, if you look at like First Amendment claims, especially with the adult entertainment industry or like porn shops, they found that you can regulate speech in like time, places, and manners restrictions. So they actually have like upheld some of those zoning. If I remember correctly, they've actually upheld some of those zoning ordinances. So it's a odd contrast, if you will.
Federal judge rules DC CCW law unconstitutional.
Okay.
So, we had the overturn of the previous DC carry law, and then they passed further restrictions. But basically, this ruling says that, you guys have to be shall issue. It cannot be may issue carry.
So basically, Washington just flip-flops like Steve Carey, is what you're saying.
That was a great reference. Wasn't it John Kerry, though?
But how many times can they do this? What level are we on, Esquire? Are we on like 8th Circuit? Are we 11th?
Circuit Court decision there. Was it a circuit? No, that was a district court. I don't know.
So the federal judge ruled that the key provision of the district's new gun law is likely unconstitutional, ordering D.C. police to stop requiring individuals to show good reason to obtain a permit to carry a firearm on the streets of the nation's capital.
It was a district court ruling, and that whole good reason thing goes into more or less it could be like a de facto, ban, if you will. Just like New Jersey issues permits, except they don't actually issue them.
Right.
Or like Maryland, where good cause or whatever arbitrary thing they want to title it as a way to not have to, you didn't show good cause that you needed it. crap like that.
So I'm still not understanding. So can you break this down in like 30 seconds or less? Circuits, district, federal, like how?
Okay, all right. You want to know the court structure? Okay, so at the bottom level of the federal court system, you have district courts. If either party there loses and wants to appeal, they appeal up to the circuit courts. There's 13 different circuits under which those district courts fall. So it's divided up geographically. So the Third Circuit, for instance, is Pennsylvania, Jersey, and I think Delaware. Or New York, I can't remember. I think it's Delaware. Anyway, and then from there, if you wanted to appeal it, you would request certiorari from the United States Supreme Court, and they can do whatever they want. They can either say, yeah, we'll hear your case, or no, you won't. And they only take cases where there's been different circuit rulings on the issues. So they basically allow these issues to filter up through the lower court systems, them come to different determinations, and then they'll weigh in as the final say in everything most of the time.
So the circuits isn't like, I have 13 different circuits in my state. It's like the circuit that is in that area is like an area. It's
right.
Like
yes,
District
correct.
5,
So in Pennsylvania, if I were, no matter what district court I am in Pennsylvania, if I'm appealing it up, it's going to the Third Circuit. That's the only circuit it's going to.
That makes sense. Okay.
There's a map I can, if you want, I'll put it in the show notes.
If anyone else is interested, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll do it. That was a great description.
Thank you.
Sure.
Also, I had breaking news this week. Hawaii set to create a federal gun owners registry.
I don't understand how Hawaii can do something on a federal level.
Because they're way over there. They're so far west, and this is like an opportunity to like bang their fist on the desk and go, "Don't forget about Hawaii."
Hawaii is funny because it's like one of those places where you're just like, I don't want to go all the way over there and regulate things. But it's Hawaii.
It's really nice, and you can't protect yourself. Yeah.
From sharks.
Just get a shark tooth club made of jade.
That sounds horrifying.
That needs the name.
It has a name. That's a real thing.
Should we call it like the Sharknado? Is that what that thing's called?
Yeah, like those crazy warriors.
Don't talk about it like it's a normal thing, Whitey.
Native weapons of the Maori.
Maori.
Yeah, well, nailed it. I study that all the time.
How have you never seen this? Like, you don't know how to hurt people?
I think there's enough Samoans running around there. They're like, have you seen us? We don't need guns.
They sheathe them in Peruvian tiger hymen.
Oh my God. See, here in Pennsylvania, me and Nate Murr create things like the mace ball bat.
The mace ball bat.
So Hawaii could become the first state of the U.S. to enter gun owners into an FBI database that will automatically notify police if an island resident is arrested anywhere else in the country.
So this could come in handy for Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Who can't carry a gun himself?
All I can think of when I hear Dog the Bounty Hunter is Cartman as Dog the Bounty Hunter.
I'm the dog. Bear mace.
Whitey.
I put it in the notes. The mono.
Yeah.
Mossberg
suing all manufacturers of drop-in triggers.
That actually was commonly talked about at NRA show.
Yes, indeed.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jake. I totally interrupted.
Relating stories, CMC supports Mossberg's drop-in trigger suits, and also a breaking story later in the week. 1989 prior art example emerges and is pertinent to the Mossberg drop-in trigger lawsuits.
So for those of you that are watching and listening that don't know, just the term drop-in trigger and the patent surrounding the ability to have an encapsulated trigger system that just goes into the receiver set, 2 pins, and you're done, that was actually created by Chip McCormick and Mr. Beagle from CMC before CMC was what it is. It got sold, moved around, shuffled, this, that, and the other thing. Eventually, at some point, Mossberg purchased that patent. With licensing from Mossberg, CMC ended up creating, a whole company, CMC Triggers, and they sold it, and they pay royalties to Mossberg every month. Now, we've all seen all the others, whether it's an Elfman, whether it's a Timney, whether it's a Black Rain Ordnance, whoever it is that utilizes the same type of system. If they aren't paying, but they're a competitor, that could lead to a little bit of butt hurt. Because if I'm paying for my product to be licensed by so-and-so, and all these other people are making money, and I'm competing against them, and they have more funds because they're not paying those royalties, eventually you're just going to get a little upset. And that really was a huge talking point during NRAM, because I think that news dropped, like Friday, right, Jake?
I think it was Thursday. Yeah, right.
It was like as we were rolling into town.
Yeah.
So that's that explained.
So what's very interesting, though, is that this prior art example emerged. So this predates all of that, which could invalidate that patent.
Unlikely.
You think it's unlikely?
Unlikely. So I lied earlier, by the way. I did kind of scan through the show notes real quick.
Here we go.
And I actually called another attorney, Glenn Bellamy, out in Ohio, who does intellectual property, and he also has a Type 7 FFL, so he has a good understanding of all this, and he actually knows, is retained by a company that produces one of these triggers. I'm not going to say who, because I don't know if I can or can't, so I'm just going to keep that out of it. But so he has knowledge of this very specifically, and I asked him, I said, I got some questions about patent law because that's not an area I practice, and you have to be admitted to a separate bar for it. But my understanding, basically, and Josh did a very good recount of the basics of, this was created by Chip McCormick back in the day. Mossberg eventually bought the rights to the patent, and now they license out the design. So Mossberg, yes, does not produce a drop-in trigger, but they own the patent to it and they license it out. Why they don't produce their own, who knows? Maybe it's because they figure it's bad for business, there's no need to, they're getting royalties, whatever. So they sued Timney, and I'm not sure how it started. I don't know if they sent them a cease and desist letter and then decided to bring a lawsuit or not, but they got into it with Timney over the design and Timney not paying licensing fees. Timney apparently went to the patent office and asked them to re-examine the patent to see whether or not it would stand. And they've gone back, I think they're on, from what I understand, the third go-round now, and every time so far the patent office has said, yep, the patent's fine, it'll stand. There's nothing defective about it, it's not...
Could you look again?
Yeah, well, yeah, and this process I'm not super familiar with, so I don't want to get too in depth in it because I honestly didn't ask enough questions in the time I had to really understand it. But there's a process where you can have a patent re-examined for its validity. Now I believe they're on like the third go around on this, and from what he told me, it sounded like the patent office was leaning again towards that, yep, everything's okay with the patent, which may have led to Mossberg saying, you know what, now we're going to go forward with starting to sue all these other people to defend our patent. With patent stuff, you can not only sue somebody who's manufacturing it, you can sue somebody who's selling it, reselling it, importing it, or even the end user. Now, Mossberg's not going to sue the end user because, let's face it, that's really bad for business. You're going to sue people that are eventually going to buy it. But that's why if you look at the list of people who have been sued, it's people who manufacture it, and there's a couple of resellers. The reason you sue the resellers is because you either don't know who the manufacturers are, or they're moving such a volume that it's possibly, detrimental or really hurting your wallet. So going back to your prior art example, what he was explaining to me was if you look at the drop-in trigger, and I think he said the original patent was for one pin, and then they later expanded it to 2 or something along those lines. But if you look at the prior art drop-in one, that one, if I recall correctly, I believe was just a drop-in where it would have to do with the machining on it. There's nothing like 2 pins on an AR-15 that specifically hold it in place. The way it was explained to me was if you look at the drop-in trigger, you have the box, you have 2 hollow pins, which are a pivot point for the hammer, and the trigger, which is also where the pins can be inserted in a certain way. So without trying to get like too in depth about it, there was enough differences from that prior art one to what's being done that it's probably going to be a non-issue as far as this is concerned. And the other thing I guess real quick, the two things I've seen and that Glenn mentioned to me was first that people's biggest people are complaining that, well, I could have thought of that. That was really simple. If you look at when that patent was originally filed, it was like sometime in the 2000s, 2000 what, 4-ish maybe, somewhere in there. So that hasn't been patented all that long. Everybody seems to think we've had iPhones forever. The iPhone came out in 2007, right? It hasn't even been 10 years. So drop-in triggers like this that were patented haven't been around for eons and eons. And the other thing is, like, Mossberg, of course, is going to defend its intellectual property. It paid for it. Why would it not?
So I have a couple questions, and Adam, hopefully you can help me with this because that was extremely helpful. One, can we just say how smart Mossberg was for buying that?
Yes.
Years ago when they did, because pennies compared to what the royalties probably have been, and then will continue to be if they win these suits. Second, are we, because they own this and because it was ruled in their favor and then the prior art stuff, is it going to be an impossibility for any company to develop any kind of trigger that is fully housed and contained, even if there are drastic differences from the original design, or does anybody who hopes to build, for lack of a better term, because we're sticking with it, a drop-in trigger is going to be shackled by this patent?
I don't know the answer to that.
That seems so broad. That's almost like to say HK could go back to the early 80s and say we created the first polymer pistol, and so because it's made of polymer, now everybody who built one after us has to come along and pay a royalty.
And again, I don't know enough about patent law to give you feel comfortable giving you an answer on that. I really don't know.
Anybody else have any ideas on that, or am I just
I'm no lawyer. I'm no patent lawyer, but unless they patented it like in the United States with the U.S. Patent Office and the polymer, and the patent was specific enough to say that they not only invented it, but anything similar to it, and they'd lose automatically because they're like the only ones in America, aside from like occasionally like Walther and stuff, that use that stupid European mag release, which kind of negates all that stuff. But even then, Glock was invented in Austria.
Right.
They only migrated to the United States recently for some production stuff, so they would be exempt. Then you have Smith & Wesson, and it's just so many. That's where, like, you're spot on. Can anyone now develop any kind of drop-in trigger system ever without having to pay that royalty? And honestly, the way that patent is written and how broad of things it covers and how specifically it covers things, you have 2 pins. You have one way, for the most part, to get a hammer, a sear, all that fun stuff to work in an AR-15. They may have it locked down until a new weapons platform comes out that doesn't use that same method.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible for AR-15s. You're dead in the water if you're looking to develop something without paying a royalty. But if you, I don't know, picked up a different platform that you could conceivably drop a trigger into, you may be okay. Like I said, I don't know enough about it, so I know when to not play expert.
I think what's really interesting is that they waited this long.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this drop-in trigger trend grow significantly over the last 12 months or so, with all these different companies popping up with seemingly the same damn trigger. Just rebranded a different colored housing, etc., etc. Oh, we're the new cool thing, we're the best thing out there, and they're all the damn same thing. I think it's really, really interesting that Mossberg was like, you know what? No, we're gonna wait, and now they dropped the hammer.
But I think if you again look to the re-examination process through the patent office, they may have been waiting for more solid footing, if you will, before they started letting the lawsuits fly to make sure that, yep, we can defend our patent. We don't need to worry about it being found invalid or parts of it being invalid or however that process works. That may have had something to do with it. May not have, but...
Well, and Mossberg's not like you or me where they're hurting for the money and feel like they're being. I mean, this is a business decision, right? They're not being robbed as a result of other things manufactured. Mossberg makes their own guns. They come up with their own designs. They copy the Savage AccuTrigger. They make the 500 and they do all these things. And so this somebody way before down the line said AR-15s are getting popular. The weapons ban is ending. People are going to continue to build their own, and just being able to drop in the trigger assembly without having to actually learn how to get the hammer and hammer spring in and use the slave pin and this and that. Wow, to just be able to put it in and use these set screws. And I mean, I don't know. I guess my biggest hang up is how jealous I am of that brilliance.
The funny thing is that I don't think, like, everyone has their differences. So if you run a Geissele trigger, you run a CMC trigger, you run, non in there or non drop in or not. I mean, everyone's got their preference. And honestly, like the Rise Armament one, that one looks pretty cool to me. Like especially the trigger shoe. At the end of the day, people are going to find a way, whether it's legal or illegal, so to speak. And I don't know. My concern is why is everyone up in arms about it? Is it just because they're recognizable names that people are like, oh, this is them eating their own? But most business people, when you have 30 seconds of here's the rundown, this just seems like a legitimate protection of their own dollar.
I don't. Have you seen people getting butthurt about this?
No, people have their loyalties. And
that was a genuine question. I mean, like, I've not seen that because I don't.
Like Josh just said Jack's name very briefly as an original developer with Chip McCormick of the drop-in triggers, and Jack and Debbie at CMC are hyper sensitive and protective of drop-in triggers in general.
Sure.
So I think some of the and I won't fault them for that. I would be mother hen over it, throwing a fit, I'm sure. And I'm not saying they're doing that. That's how I would respond. I think they have, you kind of have a little bit of CMC army out there that's protective to begin with, regardless of what Mossberg says. This is news for us, and I think it's good for people to know what stuff comes from. But as long as these things are available, they're going to buy what they like, and they're going to buy what they can afford.
I think, more to answer your question, John, I think that's a very good point. Is everyone actually talking about it, or is this just because we know and talk to so many quote-unquote industry people that this is a huge topic of discussion among that circle?
Well, I more so meant that
even know it.
I would assume that if people get the rundown on this, that they would understand, because it's plain, and we've been privy to some information on, like, we knew years ago that was the case, that Mossberg owned that patent. You know what I mean? Like, so to me, none of this is shocking at all. It's surprising, like I said earlier, it's a little bit surprising that they took this long to do it. And I would be curious of a person that just blindly supports any of the companies named in this suit. Because those companies had to know, if they did their due diligence, which they may or may not have, they had to know what the hell was going on, so they blatantly did it in disregard, potentially, of a patent. And I think that sucks.
Or they're trying to get around it. Or they're trying to say, we're going to be the first ones to make a drop-in that's not under the umbrella of this patent, and they're just taking the risk.
But the reality is, though, is John Q building My First AR, when he's looking at his local gun shop of a Timney, a Rise Armament, a CMC, all this stuff, and he's just comparing price points, and maybe he's felt his buddies who has it. He doesn't know about patents. He doesn't care about patents.
I was going to say, or care.
Right, and which one, looks cool, best value for the dollar, and feels best. I mean, those are going to be like your three selling points right there. There's not going to be many that will blindly just go, oh, well, I have to have this because, My First AR, I want it to have this 2.5 pound, first stage, and they're not going to do that. It's like what goes in easiest and what's the coolest, and can I afford it?
Well, another reason they may have delayed taking action on this is because of the fear that they would be challenged and possibly lose the patent. By bringing it to the forefront.
Well, that's the whole point. You file a patent because
John,
you
you're
want
muted.
to defend your intellectual property. The easiest way to pose it to any of the people that are pissed off at Mossberg is, if you invented something and you had a patent on it, wouldn't you do the same exact thing? I know I would.
Yeah, but if there's very similar previous inventions to it.
Doesn't matter. Did you patent it?
That could pose a danger. Yeah, because art can invalidate a patent.
It could invalidate a patent, being the operative word in that statement, but until somebody challenges your patent successfully, would you not defend it?
Yeah, I suppose.
I got nothing to add to that.
Right.
We're the shit out of this one. Timestamp it.
All right, Katie Couric documentary criticized for deceptive editing. Filmmakers deny claim. And then the companion story, John Lott, why Katie Couric cut my interview from under the gun.
Katie Couric. So for those of you listening or watching, if you head over to Four Guys Guns Facebook page, there's actually one of the last posts we put up is the actual video where you can watch the actual film and then listen to the audio, which is included in that video file. And I'm sure Jake has it here in the show notes as part of that article. Essentially what happened was, something that we do as content creators is we edit our video. That way you don't see me until the end of the review, so to speak, beep, 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 and screw up and have fun. But integrity, honesty, all that fun stuff, we don't omit things or edit it to look a way that it was not. We don't deceive. This was blatant deception to the point where she asked the question, and the very well-informed gun people around her had many answers. Not just an answer or a vague answer, many answers. What they did was they took what we call B-roll, which is, stuff of the scene, stuff of individual reactions, things like that, and once the question was asked, they went to B-roll to make it look like there were no answers. Even solemn, like, oh, that's a bad reality that we don't want to admit kind of faces. And luckily, somebody released the original audio. And then you have this. Let the rage ensue.
So the quote from one of the producers was that the pause that they edited in was to make it look like the people had taken a second to absorb and think about that question and give the people at home a time to think about that. And we all know that that is a blatant lie. And I just want to remind everybody that a Couric is just type in Couric and South Park and you'll figure it out.
So I mean, even the answer they gave for why they did it, in and of itself, is just validating the fact that they're lying to you, plain and simple. Well, we wanted to make sure that it registered. Well, so you're trying to coax a direction, an answer in a certain direction. That's what you're trying to do. Instead of saying, because that's not how it was. That's not reporting. That's not documentary. It's none of that.
It's BS.
They should
keep
sue.
it rolling.
They should sue for defamation.
Oh my God, yeah.
TSA to prosecute forgetful Georgia gun owners with 1 year in jail and a $100,000 fine.
It'd be the first time they did this, wouldn't it, Adam? Is this the first time?
To my knowledge, yeah.
Shocking. The TSA does something. There's a headline for you.
Also shocking if they actually enforce it.
So yeah, don't forget to properly de-arm yourself before going through the TSA. Check your guns properly, or don't take them with, because yeah.
See, I think
it's serious.
De-arm. I think this is nonsense. I think you should have an opportunity to, if you forget for whatever reason, for some stupid thing, like This is the type of crap where you forget a magazine. You forget one round. You don't have a gun. You have a round of ammo in your bag randomly, and they stop you and want to stick fingers in your butt. It's ridiculous.
You said fingers in your butt. Is that has happened to you with TSA?
No, but I'm trying to be ridiculous here. You understand my point?
No, I don't. But I've had my balls cupped on many occasions.
Oh man.
Look at Jake's face. I love it.
Let me say that again because I realized how
his fingers through their hair.
I realized how I said that. I realized how I said that. I meant to say I've had my balls cut many times by TSA.
By Tommy Two Fingers over there at TSA.
I forgot to add that in the first statement, and I realized exactly how that sounded.
This segment sponsored by KY.
In Russia, TSA is beer. It gate. And you walk under claw, and you rub gently. And if you have weapon, you drop it for fear.
The bear's name is Olaf.
Yes, in Vladivostok.
All right, moving on. New product I haven't seen yet is the Bullet Trap USA, the sound ambient room and perimeter alarm system, where you can basically set up a gun range in your basement.
Oh yes.
So this sound abatement room is essentially a filter system / sound deadening system so that you could shoot inside your home. There's a series of sound deadening panels. It looks really, really weird. The demo they have is just like you have a room in your house that has wood floors and a gun range in it, and nobody on Earth will have that. It's quite possibly the weirdest way to demo. Like their demo video is one of the corniest, cheesiest pieces of junk ever. But I want to hear a gun fired in this. I want to hear it.
Also, raise your hand if you've fired a gun in your home without having this marvel of creation intentionally.
Yep, I'm going to keep that raised.
Josh, did you drop it real fast?
No. I'm just looking at Kelly doing this demonstration inside this bullet trap.
Something's a trap, all right.
Oh, it's a trap.
I don't know. Would you guys ever I've considered getting a bullet trap and putting it in the basement and all that sort of stuff. I've seriously 100% considered doing that. It's just bullet traps are extremely heavy. They're all steel construction, especially if you want to shoot something like a 50 BMG inside your home, which yes, I do want to do.
So Phoenix Weaponry here, about 35 minutes from me, they built one out of an old acetylene tank.
Yeah.
And they cut the top off, and then they filled it full of chopped up tires.
Yep, that's what they use inside these things. They literally use processed tires.
And it works incredible, too. It's awesome.
She now has a camo vest on, just so we all are on the same page. That's what I'm watching.
So
1911.
There's BulletTrapUSA.com has the promo video, and the sound abatement room, which is, I guess, literally just supposed to stop the sound and filter out some smoke. They say the functional yet aesthetic setup is engineered to reduce muzzle blast sound by as much as 75%. You know what else does that? Suppressors. So,
abatement.
Abatement. So I'm gonna suppress all my guns.
Get that magazine loaded.
I'm gonna suppress them with the magazine.
Abatement.
Abatement.
Well, this has just gone downhill.
New muzzle device, patent pending. Talking, smart gun. Is this the next
this is the airsoft guy who tested by putting his hand in front of it.
It's the muzzle state proximity interlock. It's it reminds me of the movie Westwood, where all the robots have real guns that can shoot and kill, but if they, scan over a real human, they can't shoot.
So to give you guys at home a little bit of a rundown here, V-Neck McGillicuddy is the guy trying to demonstrate this. He's got a airsoft Desert Eagle with electrical tape and a box full of electronics that he claims will make guns safer, because you can point them at your hand and it won't discharge because it senses there's something there.
Did you say airsoft McGillicuddy?
I called him V-Neck McGillicuddy.
Oh, V-Neck.
Yeah.
But seriously, read the comments. So one of the things I love about Everyday No Days Off is when they post a video or something like this, they'll put like a blow-by-blow of when something just struck their mind. And literally it's like, oh, Lord, here it is. When the proximity sensor detects an old object too close to firearm service table at 15 seconds later, my sides, LOL, this man built a prototype on an airsoft Deagle brand Deagle, no less. It's a good read.
You know what's really funny? I posted this video on my Facebook page, and I let the audience decide whether this was as ridiculous as we say it is. They agreed, and there was a young man that was adamant that this was a great idea, and that he compared it to an actual mechanical safety on a firearm. He then got very, very upset when people told him he was an effing moron, and I actually had to ban a young man based on this particular product video. He was very, very upset with me, and that's I get full enjoyment out of people that are really dumb getting upset.
I have a hard time trusting this guy's beard too.
It almost looks like he glued somebody else's pubes.
Yeah.
Why did Modest Yahoo shave his head? I don't understand.
Puffier on his cheeks than it is on his chin. Like he doesn't even have as much. So I'm having a hard time getting around that. I don't know if
all beer needs more hops. That's what it says on his car.
This does kind of make me want to start coming up with awesome ideas for using electrical tape on guns. Because it was like the Nerf trolling I posted on the House of Guns Facebook page last week, where they were talking about acceptable visual appearances of Nerf guns for a battle a guy was hosting in a community.
Oh.
And people were like painting him to look realistic. What about this? And then one guy was just taking a Nerf gun and electrical taping stuff to the front of it. He's like, what about this? And he put a fillet knife on it. And then it was like, what about this? It had like a fork and all this different...
Did he post a fillet knife taped to a banana or something like that?
No, it was like, there, I fixed it. That was the last one where he just like put it on a piece of fruit. So this is going to spawn a lot of creative ideas.
Well, I'm offended. We're to the I'm offended section. I'm not necessarily offended, but somebody here is most definitely offended. AR-15 Podcast is giving away a rifle, or carbine, something. Yeah. New Frontier Armory.
Wow. We're going to really sell that one, Jake.
Yeah.
Thanks for the support, Jake.
It's giving away a 9mm carbine. That's right. AR-15 Podcast. Check it out. Go to firearmsradio.tv and click AR-15 Podcast, and you'll see the link at the top to enter the New Frontier Armory giveaway for the 9mm carbine. Back to, I was so upset. I was so offended. Memorial Day crosses removed from town display after one complaint.
Just one.
So a Memorial Day display featuring dozens of white crosses in honor of fallen soldiers was removed from public property in Georgia. And I have an autoplay ad. Thank you.
In Georgia.
179 handmade crosses in Hiram were meant to represent the 79 Paulding County residents who have died in America's wars. Hours after crosses were posted along Highway 92, an unnamed resident called the office of the city manager, Barry Atkinson, and asked whether a Christian display was appropriate.
Listen, if it's just one person and that's enough people to take the whole display down, they need to give us the person's name.
Barry's a sissy. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, this is like a microcosm of America today. So if it offends anyone, then they can't handle the emotional stress that comes along with not agreeing with something. So we're gonna back down and make it not a thing anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't. I'm offended. You're doing that 5K in front of my house. You guys can't do that.
Well, was it the cameras looking inside the windows of your house that bothered you about that, or which part?
I'm just saying. If you can be offended about this, you can be offended about anything else, and does that warrant anything else being stopped?
If Barry can approve or disapprove it, then yes.
I think what's really interesting here is that the crosses were planned and approved by the mayor, were actually taken down, and it sounds to me like this dude, Barry Atkinson, was looking for an excuse.
He's the city manager.
Right.
Maybe he hates the mayor. Maybe they have these massive go-arounds that are like the stuff of legends in the local paper.
Did you guys read the article?
I'm reading it now and seeing that they're back up.
You know what, Adam? I don't like your tone.
Well, the only reason I'm asking is because if not to say that you're wrong in your thoughts here. I don't necessarily think it's a huge deal, but I think the point of the caller was the question was whether or not all those fallen soldiers that these were meant to honor, were they all Christian? You know, like I'm Jewish, so would a cross be appropriate for me? Probably not. Would it something I'd roll over my grave over? Probably not. But I think that was the purpose of it, and it also says at the bottom of the article they offer to make a cash contribution for a permanent veterans memorial. So I think this one's kind of reaching with the offendedness nature of it a little bit.
You know what would be awesome if people gave appropriate information up front instead of drawing it out.
Titles?
I would have appreciated if the author would have told me this stuff very quickly, like in a 10-minute show on a YouTube channel.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Zing.
You mean like the Gun Collective and TGC News?
Oh, that's a great suggestion.
Subscribe now.
Subliminal.
Colorado Elementary School suspends kindergartner for bubble gun. Bubble, that's right, bubbles. It shoots bubbles.
Yeah,
We'll go to kindergarten and take the bubble gun.
I pray for the day this happens to my son, because there's not enough super soakers in the world.
Bubbles are dangerous.
Boobles.
Buy them bubbles.
Buy them
with no other weapon.
Whitey, if that does ever happen, please call me immediately, and I will drive up there, and we will go to town with.
I'm getting a Hummer.
There's going to be
a Hummer, and we're mounting like Nerf and super soakers and water balloon launchers.
I know a guy that has a Hummer.
Tailpipes. Like it's just gonna be like bells for days, and I'm gonna stand outside the school on my Humvee, and I'm gonna scream through a loudspeaker, "I want the superintendent now!"
No, you're not gonna do. No, stop. You're not doing that.
Look at the attorney, just sick of us.
No, I'm reading the statement of the school. It's even more retarded than you guys.
Oh,
that was a singer.
The school said, while we hear and understand the parents of the student being concerned about the discipline in light of the student's age and type of item, this suspension is consistent with our district policy as well as how Southeast has handled similar situations throughout this school year. First of all, let's stop right here. The no tolerance policies are retarded. It's just dumb. Like in real life, there's going to be black, white, and gray. And this clearly falls into the white, like there's nothing wrong with it. It's a bubble gun. If you're going to go with the it's disruptive to the learning environment, fine, take it, give it back for recess or at the end of the day. Don't suspend the kid, but it's not a weapon. Same with like Nerf. Oh God, I can't. I can't.
It's on Emma's permanent record now.
Yeah, well, that was what I found funny was that her mom was concerned whether it would be on her permanent record. And you know what the worst part about it is? If it were in 20 years when this girl's, or I don't know, 13 years when this girl's applying for colleges, people then who are going to be in charge of these academic institutes aren't going to be able to discern like real life things like, oh, it was a bubble gun. Who cares? Oh my God, you brought a toy gun to school? You can't go to school here.
Well, I guess the Bubble Lives Matter movement pushes through in 2025.
That's when we give up. That's when we
so
burn it down.
Wait. I want to keep going here down this same route. Adam is the next paragraph says this has involved similar situations where students have brought items such as Nerf guns to school and also received a 1-day suspension. The bringing of weapons, real or facsimile, to our schools by students. Okay, first of all, real or fake? What real gun does a bubble gun represent?
It's an M203.
The Bubbelwaffen from the...
Bubbelwaffen.
It's from the World War One. The Bubbelwaffen.
Otherwise known as the BWFU.
Who makes that? Remind me who makes that.
Mercedes.
Germans!
Mercedes.
So I want to point out the first two comments on this particular article. But was it a high-powered bubble gun? Because, well, the children. And then it said, I bet it had the shoulder thing that goes up, too.
What's interesting is the story was covered by Fox in Denver, so local TV station. But the school is actually in southeast Colorado, which is... What's funny is that's a notoriously right-leaning area. That it borders Oklahoma, like the panhandle of Oklahoma. So the funny thing is this wasn't even like a Denver or Boulder or Colorado Springs school or anything like that. It was in an area that would typically not make any sort of fuss about this at all.
Yeah, just ridiculous. Last I'm offended story. George Zimmerman actually sells his Kel-Tec PF9 used to kill Trayvon Martin for $120,000.
Jake, when I was on the show like 3 weeks ago, didn't I say this was going to happen? It was going to be a stupid amount.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you that I'm offended that these articles continue to put this in the context of the gun Zimmerman used to kill Trayvon Martin, as opposed to like the gun Zimmerman used to lawfully defend himself. Not like there wasn't a trial and he wasn't found not guilty or anything. That's my rant.
So, companion article, Zimmerman explains reasoning behind gun sale.
Cash money. Next question. You can't flim-flam the zim-zam.
Overflow stories, way too many stories to cover this week. We have a bunch of stories we skip every week, so go to firearmsradio.tv, click This Week in Guns. Show notes usually post by Friday morning, or you can support us via Patreon, patreon.com/week, and hang out with us after the show if you support at the $10 level and get to talk about these overflow stories then. So we are to the Amazon affiliate link. You can contribute to the Firearms Radio Network and This Week in Guns by shopping the Amazon affiliate link or clicking the banners on the website. Or you can bookmark firearmsradio.tv/Amazon.
Can I buy bubble guns there?
Absolutely. I hope
The bubble gun!
The Bubbelwaffen!
Who knows? Amazon just went through a big purging of where they basically banned anything that can be any kind of pen, any kind of tool that can be used on any gun. So they're becoming more and more ridiculous in that front.
I wonder if I'll be able to get replacement tanks for my Bubbelwaffen.
The Bubbelwaffen.
The Bubbelwaffen is so boobily.
I buy my bubbles by the gallon, son.
Well, you may be able to...
I'm trying to get some high-capacity bubbles.
You may be able to get a Amazon subscribe and save subscription where you can subscribe to bulk bubbles every month.
What would we buy? But I need to hear you say.
We are to the Fall Order news segment, stories the real media won't talk about, and other crazy stuff. Each of the hosts picks a story to call their own. While you guys are picking stories, I want everyone to listen up. The JWB Military and Brass Company are giving away free bags of brass. Go to firearmsradio.tv, click This Week in Guns, and click the JWB Military and Brass giveaway. All you got to do is sign up for the email list there, and you get entered to win free 50 count bags of ready-to-load brass. You can pick from 9mm, 308, 300 blackout, and 5.56, I believe. And we also include a free Patriot patch in that shipment. So go over to firearmsradio.tv, click This Week in Guns, and click the JWB Military and Brass giveaway.
So just to reiterate on that JWB brass, I've said this before. I have a whole bunch of their 9mm brass. It's good stuff. You guys should really go enter.
All right, who's ready to rock and roll?
Oh, I am.
Josh.
Okay.
No, you want to go, John?
Well, mine's going to be very, very short.
Go for it.
Okay, so Carr painted the CW 380 gold, and nobody still wants to buy it. All right, go ahead.
Hey, Carr makes a good pistol, man.
When was the last time somebody bought one of those over a Glock 42?
Listen, I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Right, it didn't happen.
I'm just saying they make a good pistol.
So Ebbs is really good at providing local color for Colorado and outer-lying states. I happen to be nearby to Maine. Maine, before I read the story, is very adamant about not abusing your spouse. Like, very adamant. Like, there's street signs, like, don't park here, and then there's, like, a fist and a face, and it's like, don't beat your wife. Like, that is a thing that if you are in Maine, you will see. Moose Crossing, don't park here, don't beat your wife.
Don't butt your wife, kid.
Yeah, wicked good. I tried hitting Martha once, and let me tell you, that frying pan freaking hurt. All the Peltiers come out of the...
It's wicked hot,
Canucks.
kid.
Yeah, the damn Canucks come down and just mess the whole situation. All right, so this woman
moose
was arrested. Emily Wilson, 38, was collared last week following a confrontation with her spouse Kyle over whether he was having an affair. During the argument, investigators allege Wilson waved a handgun and fired a shot into the couple's bed. So when they brought her in and booked her, she's wearing a Stop Domestic Violence t-shirt. Woman busted wearing Meta Message t-shirt. That's
lol.
Yeah, it's ironic almost. Okay.
All right, Ebbs.
Yes, in Russia, if you point a gun at Russian men, be ready to kill. There's a video on the Truth About Guns, and it's in the show notes, right under the Full Auto News stuff, where there's like a traffic altercation, and there's a guy, he's not wearing that much, and he's probably on meth, but he's wearing a white T-shirt and like athletic shorts, and so he's trying to open a door of a car. The driver gets out, points a gun at the guy. This is all from a traffic camera. Points a gun at the guy, and they're both kind of in a mid standoff. The guy with the gun walks away a little bit, then comes back, shoots it at his feet, and the dude goes off, just unloads just physical rage on this little compact car, and is trying to rip doors off, and he's jumping on the hood and on the roof and on the trunk and stuff, stomping it in, just going absolutely crazy. And there's not much story there, so there's not much context, but it has like kind of piano bar music to it, so you have to make sure the volume's up when you watch the video. And it's
he totally caved the roof in.
It's great. Yeah, car versus Russian win every time.
You shoot gun at ground, you silly bitch.
You should point the gun at my chest, or I kill your Nissan.
Like he just totally stoved in the entire car.
He curb stomped it.
Like imagine if you were in a road rage incident and you wanted to destroy somebody's car. This guy does everything that you would ever want.
What about the fact that he's wearing flip-flops? Oh, it's a Hyundai, by the way.
Which story is this?
Second story down in Full Auto News.
It's called Pro Tip: Never point a gun at an angry Russian.
I like how he starts with the side view mirror. He slaps it closed, then he slaps it back open. and then he just goes berserk on this car.
Oh, so good. And he ends with no shirt or shoes on.
Yep. Of course.
Like well, you gotta take those off if you're gonna rage.
I think he got his point across, though. He went. It was like a combination of Flea from the Chili Peppers and Henry Rollins.
That's really good.
Thanks.
He popped a shot off at him too.
Yeah, he did.
Oh yeah.
Well, you could see him.
Whitey, it gets better.
You could see him skip a little, like it might have hit him in the foot or something.
He goes rage mode on
and the one. God,
dude, I like how you can tell they're watching it right now.
The one dude slams him into the car, and they like go fight, and he runs down the street, and then you see him run back, and that's where he jumps onto the trunk, and then just like slams down on the roof of the car and just destroys it.
It's like a 2-year-old having a temper tantrum all over this guy's car.
He's trying to bend the door forward off the car, and people are like, "Whoa, stop!" No, they help him.
Yeah. There's like one person like kind of slapping, and no, don't do it, and then like 3 dudes helping him destroy the car.
It's okay. Yeah, if we help him reach his objective, he'll stop. But the guy,
you want to take door off? We take door.
That's amazing.
He's really moving that. Yeah, there you go.
Let's go. He's in
Put your back into it. Svetlana, poor Svetlana. Listen, honey, let's go.
Oh yeah, he definitely gets grazed or shot in the foot a little bit.
Yeah,
and he's stomping through the windshield with flip-flops on.
This guy has no idea why he's even kicking this door. He's like, all right, I guess we're kicking this door.
Well, no, you have to figure.
You shot me with Bubelwaffen.
You have to figure they have meth in Russia.
They got stuff way better than meth in Russia.
This isn't just vodka. He just walked out of a club. He has no concept of what time it is, and he made a cocktail of like Rufalin and amphetamines.
I think he was just listening to some Hatebreed or something.
He's not feeling anything. He stops the hood, the roof, and
the whole car.
And then he runs away and runs back. Oh, this crazy Vladimir.
Vladimir car stomper.
Adam, what do you got?
I've got does footage of a 95 Mike Tyson fight show a time traveler using a smartphone to record the bout? So apparently, there's this video of Mike Tyson boxing in 95 where the clip appears to show a spectator in the front row using a smartphone to record Mike Tyson battling it out. Conspiracy theorists say it could only be a human time traveler from the future or an alien from an advanced technological civilization enjoying a holiday on Earth, while the detractors say it could be an early digital camera. First of all, if you were an early... Yeah, you know what, actually, if I were an alien, I'd want to see Mike Tyson beat the ever-living tar out of somebody, too. I take that back. I don't know.
Well, the companion story for this was Tim Cook says he saw the iPhone in like a 500-year-old painting.
Yeah, I saw that article.
I want this to be real.
Go ahead and prove it, Ebbs.
No, I said I want. I'm not going to take the effort.
I mean, we grew up on Back to the Future. We all want this to be real.
Doc, are you saying it's 8 a.m.?
I like how the article, the writer of the article, is kind of investigating the possibility of it.
That's because it's from the Daily Mail. Like, they are tabloid central in the UK.
Yeah, I don't know. I just laughed because it had Mike Tyson in it.
The name of the YouTuber to release the footage is Jammy Bantam.
Nice.
Which looks funnier to read it off of the page than to hear it said, by the way.
Jake?
There's so many good stories this week. Is Trump's hair really just a $60,000 wig? I guess that should have been up earlier in the show.
Is it?
Man gets something bitten by a python while sitting on a toilet.
It was his dangly bits.
Delta flight attendant charged with stealing 1,500 mini bottles and selling them on Craigslist. 2 Yellowstone visitors nab bison calf and take it for a ride in an SUV.
Oh, God.
Which it later had to be euthanized.
Gosh.
You want to talk about stupid. They thought it was cold. It's a freaking wild animal. What do you, like, come on, man. You know what they should have done? They should have euthanized those 2 people.
Yep.
That would be so amazing.
It was a father and a son. Just
save some oxygen for the people who need it.
Did you guys see the one where it says a 5-foot female officer takes down 6-foot thug?
I saw that.
I saw the headline. I didn't see it, though.
I saw it on social. There's actually a gun story in here, which is interesting. Deadfoot Arms MCS. Excuse me, it's a modified cycle system. Essentially, it's a folding stock that allows your gun to actually still run. It appears to use a proprietary bolt carrier and sort of recoil system, a shortened recoil system. And I think it's kind of interesting. You know, my first reaction was, why does this matter? Why would I want this? But then, you know, the other side of me says, options are good. I'm not sure that this is the best one. Like, if I wanted a side folder that still worked, I would get something else. But,
well,
yeah.
that's the thing, though. So Law Tactical is like the number one, you know, kind of guys to go to for side folders, especially if you have an SBR or even a pistol and you want to put that thing in like a backpack or something like that. They now make one that does a single shot. Before you couldn't shoot it while it was folded. Now they have one that's a single shot and it's folded. So this adds what, 1.5 inches to the rear, and you can fire it while it's folded. That's kind of a fairly big deal. That's your whole buffer system.
Yeah, I saw this article before you picked it up. It's a interesting idea. I don't know. I think
it's a bit ugly.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks. Not anything I would go for.
Yeah, it is pretty ugly. All right. So we have to talk Legos. Study shows growing arms race in Lego sets. There's a concerning arms race according to the BBC. Study says Lego bricks are growing more and more violent.
Concerning to who?
What?
It's a real problem, John.
On what planet?
This one, apparently.
Somebody watched the Lego movie one too many times.
When is it okay to use Lego? I'm just saying.
Lego Batman's getting ready to come out.
Can we just talk about the companion article? Man builds 6,000-piece Lego replica of Halo 5's rocket launcher. And this thing is freaking awesome.
That's way better.
Totally medieval. Reenactor skewers drone with spear. Once again, Russia. So somebody's flying a drone over this reenactment, and dude comes out of nowhere and just drills the DJI with an actual spear. That video's worth watching.
Yeah. Alpaca out of effing nowhere.
Yeah. You see this guy just out of nowhere, you're like, watch it. It's like, no, this ain't happening. Not on my boom.
What about the Glock bots, the Glock robots, the little tracked robots that drive along the ground? Like, oh, that's cute. And then you're like, watch the video, and you're like, oh, it has a real Glock in it, and it can shoot.
Yeah, that was something from Boxer Tactical, right? That post?
Yeah, it's one of the sponsor posts on Truth About Guns.
Word.
4-minute video. We're not going to be able to capture this in time.
So, as always, you can support us on Patreon, crowdfund this show, patreon.com/week. Hang out with us after the show, talk about more of these full auto stories. Oh, we missed Florida women. Florida woman bit by shark and admitted to hospital with shark still attached.
Nice.
It doesn't really fit in the theme of Florida, where like Florida man eats person's face, Florida man dies in sinkhole, Florida man,
Dude, this applies. She goes to hospital with a shark still attached.
It's not even a big shark.
It doesn't matter.
Like a small fish.
Shark still. Come on.
Patreon.com/week. You can debate further about the Florida shark woman. Support pro-gun shows. Crowdfund this episode. Patreon.com/week. And also, Patriot Patch helps make this episode possible. PatriotPatch.co. Bunch of new T-shirts up there. Go check out the T-shirts at PatriotPatch.co. So this is a part of the show where we see what's going on in these guys' lives. John, what's up with you and the Gun Collective?
Nothing.
Okay, where can people connect with you online?
No, the same old TGC News, about to wrap up a giveaway. If you're watching live, you can go enter at theguncollective.com and giving away some ammo displays. There's a picture there if you want to see what that's all about. You can connect with me on Facebook, YouTube, and Full30.com at The Gun Collective, and all over social media, of course.
Very cool. Josh, Four Guys Guns, where can people connect and what's up?
Not much is going on. We're recapping everything after NRAM, and about to hopefully make some cool new connections, dive a little bit more into hunting. I know people like John have been pushing for that, so we're going to see what we can do. Start with some birds and maybe some boar, I think, but that's not on the very near horizon. We're just getting back in respectable times with getting reviews out and more videos for the people. You can find us at Four Guys Guns on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, just put it in there. If you're on Snapchat, you can follow my shenanigans. That some days it's good, some days it's bad. FGG space Whitey, and yeah, just doing the damn thing. Timestamp.
I think Birds and Boars would be a cool pub in New Hampshire.
There you go. When I make all my millions.
Okay.
You and John can help me decorate.
Abs, House of Guns, House of Arms, what's up? Where can people connect?
Connect at social media avenues under House of Guns, HAUS of Guns. And Snapchat is Everyday Ebs, EBBS. And I love you guys.
How are you?
Adam, what's up? Where can people connect?
The blog.princelaw.com, on Facebook, Firearms Industry Consulting Group. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Moose00015. And I just want to thank, because it's been a couple of weeks, but it's my first time back on, I want to thank everybody who came out to the machine gun shoot, you guys included. It was awesome you guys came. But I did spend a lot of time talking to people, and a lot of people ended up being listeners of the show. So I just want to say to all you people that I met, thank you very much. It was great meeting all of you. Sorry I didn't get a chance to get down to NRA to meet more listeners, but it was awesome talking to people that listen to the show on a regular basis, and getting to talk with them a little bit. So
very cool. That about wraps us up this week. Leave your feedback by commenting on the bottom of this YouTube video or the bottom of the show notes. Show notes will be at firearmsradio.tv. Click This Week in Guns. And contribute to the show with our Amazon affiliate link, firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. Thank you, John.
Hey, Jake. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Pleasure to be here, Jake. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ebs.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Adam.
thank you.
That's a wrap. We'll see you next week.